Hey nerds, hope you're doing well. So, time to talk about a few things, shall we? Yeah, there's a legendary banner coming up, and I'm sure you're all very excited. There's a lot of great units to be had here. A lot of them, of course, very powerful. Honestly, I think this is probably one of the best legendary banners that have come out recently. Almost all colors have something or just a lot of great things. So, we're gonna start off here. We're gonna go through the colors and show you what I think you might want to aim for. However, I'm going to be changing the ways I did this before. Instead of just applying a number to it, we're just going to go over the pros and the cons and let you decide. I will give you my opinion, just a little bit there, but I won't go too crazy with it, alright? So first off, let's start with reds. Honestly, Zelgius, man who lost his sword but found it once more. Honestly, he's at the top of the tier list, guys. He is one of the stronger units, at least when it comes to sword units in the game right now. And that's because he has great stats, 3 exclusive skills to his name. His weapon, of course, Black Luna, and then also Warp Powder, which, you know, negligible, but still, you know, Alone Died, of course, gives him distant counter, which is very, very nice to have. And the only real con I can see with him is something that's really negligible. You know, Warp Powder can fix that if you don't feel like doing, you know, any B skills, but honestly, he's an armored unit, so naturally without certain skills or a seal, you know, he's gonna be moving a bit slower, so be aware of that. As a unit, he's gonna have to suffer through that, but not a bad one. He's extremely strong. Next up, we of course have Vanguard Ike, who, you know, I'm sure some people might be like, this is, you know, but still, great unit, really nice stats, good skills that boost, of course, you know, attack if you happen to have a blessing that will match him, so, you know, nice enough to have it. Also, of course, a distant counter weapon, which, you know, for any real character is always a bonus. From there, the cons for him are really just that he is already accessible for free due to, of course, a hero rises, so it's really up to you if you want to roll on reds and, you know, risk getting Ike. Not that that's a bad thing, he does have a lot of great skills to inherit as well, but if you already have him, you know, it's really up to you if you want to roll for Zelgius or not, or any other character in here, which, by the way, we also have Witch Noe, which, honestly, really happy to see her back. She's a great unit. She has a very unique combination of a flyer and a tome, which is not something we see often outside of course, seasonal banners. We just recently got one that was added, and that took nearly a year. That was actually, you know, added to the pool. So, all in all, I will say that she's also she comes pre-built with a really nice hone. She also, of course, is really nice to have on a flyer team, has a good preferential weapon that will really help her out in moving, or you can, of course, just make her into a not Gron, I forget what, a blade tome. Good lord, I think it's raw blade, but, you know, really nice character. Outside of that, she can be somewhat weak outside of a flyer team without the correct, you know, kind of buffs and things like that. Still, though, very strong, and if you ever need a good flyer, that is definitely something you should aim for. So, all in all, red has a strong turnout, even with a freebie unit, but still, that is something we should be ready for, and something you are probably all set to go for. So, let's move on to blues. Of course, we have Brave Lucina, who, I'm glad to see her back. She's a very strong lance unit that's all about buffing melee units, also has drives. It's just, well, not melee, physical attacking units, I should say. So all in all, very strong, and her pros, of course, good mixture of offensive and defensive stats, great weapon for buffing physical characters who actually attack with physical items, you know, bows, lances, axes, all that fun stuff. But the only thing is that I can really see, and this is straining to try and get a con out of that, is that she can't buff certain weapon types with her weapon. That's a little, you know, it's a little nitpicky, but that's, I mean, that's the best con I could really come up with. She's a very strong unit, and if you ever need her, she can be very dependable as well. So, outside of that, let's move on to the next, and that, of course, is Fjorm, who returns once more to... Thunderous applause? I'm not too sure. But when it comes to Fjorm, she's a decent tank with a distant counter weapon. I also don't have this here listed, but she can buff speed. You know, she does have a water blessing buff, so if you happen to have any characters with water blessings and you bring her along, she'll buff their speed. She also has a unique skill, in Ice Mirror, which will deflect damage and then do a total amount of that damage back, which is really nice. The only problem, though, is that as a free unit, well, you know, I always have to dock it because free unit, it's really up to you if you want to go for that. She does lack a bit of speed, so if you don't get the great, you know, stat spread or good IVs, you might find yourself a bit lacking and your mileage may vary a bit. Still, though, pretty fun. Next up is, well, I'm really happy to see Loot return. Loot is a fantastic Blue Tome unit. Fantastic. And of course, the pros are she's a powerhouse of a mage. She's able to run dual ploys due to her weapon. Great offensive stat spread as well. The only real con that I can really think of is, you know, she can't take physical damage too well. Her defense is pretty low, but then again, if you're running her straight into, you know, archers or melee units, you're probably doing it wrong anyways, so just be careful with that. Don't throw her into situations she can't, you know, deal with. But I'm pretty sure you're already well aware of that anyways, so I don't really need to tell you. Honestly, Blue is a particularly strong pool as well, mostly in terms of Loot and Lucina. Fjorm as well, so if you happen to want to get her at all too, Blue is really looking nice, so let's just move on from there. Up. Nope. Come on. I don't know what's going on with my presentation right now, but anyways, let's just try out the next color, shall we? Now, this color is probably the weakest of them. I don't mean that in a bad way, because all of the colors this time around are incredibly strong, but if I were to grade them a little bit, it would probably be green. Summer Tiki's there, who I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see her again for melon reasons, but you know, let's just talk about her pros. Great starting kit, has some, you know, some really nice skills like close defense. In fact, she was probably the one who introduced close defense. Nice defense and attack spread. Also comes with Axe Valor, which is really nice to have. The only problem, of course, is that her speed kind of can cause her to be a little bit behind other units who may happen to deal with that. Her HP is a little low too, so be careful with her. A lot of people run Brave Axe with her from what I've seen, but all in all, fantastic unit too, and you know, never hurts to have a Valor. I mean, why not? From there, we of course have this cutie pie, that of course is Summer Elise. And, well, I will say, as a strong green tome unit, she has the good stat spread to be a offensive mage that can really bug people. Very powerful. She can run things like Grand Blade really well, and she also, well, she comes with a Valor too, so if you happen to need any green tome Valor, there you go. The only con, of course, is that you're going to be comparing her to Nino. She has a very similar stat spread to Nino, slightly more attack, less speed, which could be kind of critical for her, so you're going to need to pay attention to IVs. And outside of that, if you already have Nino, it's really up to you if you want to go for it. Still, though, pretty fun character to have, and of course, we all love Elise, right? What a cute little girl. That's usually what I think that's from a quote from the little girl. No, I can't remember. Anyways, let's just move on to Gunthra, who is back, I think, or maybe she never left. Ephraim left. Anyways, all right. Pros: Cavalier Tome unit with a really nice weapon and a powerful B passive. Great for debuffing. Can be used outside of a Cavalier team, but being used with a Cavalier team, Gunthra really does do pretty well. Outside of a Cavalier team, she struggles quite a bit, but she still can provide some really nice debuffs, and of course, you know, has her wind ability to buff resistance. I did not include that in the pros, which I should have. Gosh dang it. So, all in all, greens are fairly strong too. I mean, not as strong as some of the other ones in some regards, but still very, very competent, very, very good. And, you know, also has some really nice things in the exclusive Valor skills that have been kind of missing from some characters. So if you're looking for any of those, that is something you will probably want to aim for. So that is extremely nice to have. All right, moving on. Let's move on to the next skill setup, which of course is Colorless. Now, just so we're clear, I will not be able to cover Colorless Robin, or at least, you know, the new Fell rendition of female Robin. Mostly because stats, I can't give you a good recommendation. However, I will say she looks to be incredibly strong, but let's talk about what else is in there. That, of course, is Brave Lynn, as if I have to tell you why. So, pros. Incredibly strong Cavalier Archer with an impressive weapon that she comes with, strong skills, and stat spread. She is a monster. For many reasons. She's, I'm sure you've ran into her a lot in Arena or in any other situation where you happen to have maybe, your friends or something like that with you, teaming up against you. Who knows? Still, I will say that, the only real con that I can think of is that you will get tired of hearing the enemy every, so often. But still, I mean, Brave Lynn, incredibly strong, something you will, have to find time to work with. Of course, she does have weaknesses in defense and other things, but, that's obvious. Still, very, very strong. Last but not least, of course, we have our good old kitty Sakura, who, of course, a lot of people are happy to see her, and she's really great to have as well. Great anti-mage unit with a nice offensive stat spread, comes attached with the Valor skill. What more could you want? She is incredibly strong against mages. However, outside of that, she does struggle a little bit when it comes to that. She has a good stat spread, at least for speed and attack. So, if you happen to have, good IVs as well, she will do fairly well in what she can do. So, that's about it when it comes to this banner. When it comes to colors, honestly, the best seem to be red, colorless, blue, and then green. That is what that's at least how I see it. Colorless may be upped a bit just in case when we see Robin's stats, but for right now, I'm gonna say red is a really great color to pull for. So is colorless, and blue is phenomenal, and green is probably the weakest, but then again, when it comes to characters, they're all so strong, so it's really up to you on what you want to pull. I hope this helped out in some ways. Thanks, guys, for watching. As always, when it comes to a study for colors, we're here. So, thanks for watching. See you later, guys.